Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here. In today's Grand Theft Auto video, I'm going to be running you through about 30 vehicles that have special or unique features in Grand Theft Auto Online. So this vehicle is going to be pretty useful if you want to dive into some of the newer vehicles but might not sure really what they do at a moment's notice. This video might be useful for you. So let's jump into this. Number one, we have the Oppressor, which is the only rocket-powered bike in the game. But what's also unique is it has a glide mode too, which allows you to go much further than some of the other rocket-powered vehicles we're going to be talking about. So rocket-boosted and can glide. It's a pretty cool combination that allows you to do some really unique stuff in online. Number two is the Vigilante. So aside from this being the Batmobile, this is a rocket-boosted car too. And on top of that, it also has really good stopping power, which means if you hit something in this vehicle, you're probably going to send it flying pretty far, which is really cool. Number three is the Rocket Voltic. So this is kind of ironic based off of the events that just occurred with SpaceX. The Voltic is based off of the Tesla Roadster, and it has a rocket thruster on the back. It's kind of the OG rocket vehicle. So Rocket Voltic, great option. Can't go wrong with that. The number four spot today, we have the Thruster, which is essentially the jetpack. This is something we've been waiting for since GTA San Andreas, which is obviously a long time ago. So the jetpack is really cool. I don't really know if it completes the Chiliad mystery, but it's a really good vehicle in my opinion. And it has that unique feature to fly, and you can actually like sort of juke in it as well, which is kind of cool. Number five today, we have the Deluxo. So the Deluxo, not only is it special because it's literally a Back to the Future vehicle in the DeLorean, but it also has the ability to fly, hover. There's so many things the Deluxo can do. It's also weaponized as well. So really great features with that. But by far its most unique feature is the fact that it is a flying car, which is kind of awesome. Number six today, we have the Akula. Now, the Akula is unique because it is the only vehicle with stealth mode. Now, in stealth mode, you don't actually have the ability to fire your weapons, but it does hide your blip on the map, which is quite useful for if you have a bounty, if you're trying to do missions that require you to be a little bit more stealthy. The Akula is a great vehicle for you. So awesome helicopter right there. The number seven spot today, we have the Hydra. The Hydra is a unique vehicle because it has VTOL mode. It's the only jet with a VTOL mode, which obviously makes it very popular. It was sort of the second big fighter jet we got in the game, aside from the P996 laser that was first added. Unfortunately for me, the Hydra has become like the griefer tool that you see in all the lobbies, so it's kind of hard to not see one, which is a little bit unfortunate. The number eight spot today, the Armored Kuruma. So the Armored Kuruma is probably the OG armored vehicle. It's incredibly resistant to bullets. So if you're fighting NPCs or other players that don't have access to explosives, then the Armored Kuruma is going to be for you. So I would definitely recommend you grab one of these. It just went on sale like a week or so ago. I don't think it is now, but you might have missed out on your opportunity there. That's the Armored Kuruma. The number nine spot today, the Insurgent. And now I'm going to talk about all variants just because I think there's a couple. There's the regular one, the armored one, there's the custom one. The Insurgent is incredibly resistant to explosives. Like it can take 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sticky bombs, RPGs, rockets in some cases. So if you're fighting players or NPCs with explosives, an Insurgent is going to be one you need. The number 10 spot today, the Night Shark. The Night Shark is also very resistant to explosives, but it also has two abilities that I really like. Number one, it's quite fast. Like it's one of the fastest big armored truck vehicles like this we have in the game. And number two, it can haul the anti-aircraft trailer, which is what we're going to be talking about next. The anti-aircraft trailer can be towed by specific vehicles, which obviously is a unique function. Not many vehicles you can spawn into the game that can be towed by other cars. So pretty cool stuff right there. Up next, we have the Stromberg. The Stromberg is unique because it's the only vehicle in the game that can go underwater and can go back to land driving like a normal car. So I've always thought that that was pretty cool of the Stromberg. And on top of that, if you're a big fan of the pop culture references, the Stromberg is actually James Bond's Lotus that was featured in, I think, like the late 70s film, The Spy Who Loved Me or something like that. So if you're a fan of that, that makes it pretty unique too. After that, we have the APC. So the APC is unique because it can actually float on water. So it's not the only vehicle that can go in water, but you wouldn't think a tank would be able to float in water, but you can with the APC, which makes it quite impressive. So I'm a big fan of this vehicle. After that, we have the Technical Aqua, which can drive on land and water. That's pretty much the only real unique thing about this vehicle. At the end of the day, it's still a pickup truck. It still is, a big, slow vehicle with a minigun on the back, but at least it can drive on land and water. The more impressive version is the Blazer Aqua, which has a land mode and a sea mode and can drive on land and water. This is your better option if you want to go back and forth between those. We have the Ruiner 2000, which is the only vehicle in the game that has a jump function and has parachutes. So the Ruiner 2000 has kind of been made obsolete by some of the other armored and weaponized vehicles in the game, but it's still the only one that can jump and has parachutes, which is kind of cool. After that, we have the Ramp Buggy. The Ramp Buggy is the only car in the game that can launch cars straight up in the air because of its ramp-like function at the front, which is obviously kind of cool. Moving on, we have the Phantom Wedge. It has a wedge that effectively pushes cars to the side and can also be attached to the Mobile Operations Center. Sort of an unsung thing you may not have known about the Phantom Wedge is that, yes, it can be attached to the MOC, but that wedge on the front is definitely its biggest thing. This one might sound obvious, but up next is the Cargo Bob. The Cargo Bob is the only vehicle in the game that can pick up vehicles. Now, there are some other vehicles we have in the game that are sort of used, whether it's in cutscenes or whether it's in various missions. So I'm talking about like the Skylift helicopter and the Cargo Bob that has like that magnet on it that actually picks us up in the heist mission. But the Cargo Bob is the only vehicle that technically has the ability to pick up some vehicles. Not all vehicles, as you know, but only some. After that, we have the Rhino Tank. You're thinking to yourself, what does the Rhino Tank have that's so interesting? It can actually blow up other vehicles just by running them over, which you don't really see other vehicles being able to do. So that is obviously a great vehicle, and it's kind of been made obsolete by some of the other tanks we have in the game, but it's still a nice vehicle in my opinion. Moving on, we have the RCV, which actually has 2 water cannons. So it's the only non-fire truck vehicle in the game that has the water cannons, which is kind of cool. It also has the wedge on the front, but that doesn't make it unique. And then the Chernobog. The Chernobog is unique because it is one of the few vehicles in the game that has unlimited missiles, but it can fire 5 missiles at once. And its unique stance in which it requires to, it makes it a pretty special and unique vehicle in the game. Moving on, I didn't want to include all these individually, but the lowriders. The lowriders are the only vehicles in the game that have hydraulics. And there's one lowrider in particular that's very special because it's the only vehicle like this in the game, and that is the Faction Custom, which can be turned into a donk version, which I think is kind of cool. So I don't really use the lowriders all that much anymore, but I am a fan of the Faction Donk, and when they first came out, they were such a fun thing to just stroll around and customize and upgrade and everything like that. Moving on, we have the Hermes and the Yosemite. These are the only 2 vehicles in the game where their suspension will automatically slam themselves when not in motion. So I think this is called air brake suspension. Don't quote me on that. These 2 vehicles are very unique in the fact that they have that suspension that is different when you're driving as compared to sitting still. Also, a couple supercars as well, like the T20 and the Nero, they have retractable spoilers. I think those are the only 2 ones in the game that have that. Also, the Ocelot XA21 does as well. I almost forgot about that. Those are the only few vehicles in the game that have retractable spoilers, which is obviously pretty awesome. One of my favorite features of those supercars. Up next, we've got the Shitaro, or the Tron bike. Again, a really cool pop culture reference. This is the only vehicle that has lights on the exterior that get brighter as the light on the outside or in the sunlight gets darker. Now, that's obviously a tribute to the bike itself, but I still think that that is a pretty awesome feature. We also, speaking of motorcycles, have the Halloween bike from a couple of years ago, the LCC Sanctus. This is the only vehicle in the game with red headlights. That's right, different colored headlights. That's actually a feature I've wanted Rockstar to do for a long time now, but they've never done. And I think this would be pretty cool. So unfortunately, the LCC Sanctus is the only one with those unique headlights in the game. And I wanted to include these next couple of vehicles that I'm going to talk about in this list, but unfortunately, since you can't actually own them in online, I didn't want to necessarily put them in this video. Number one example of that would be the tow truck. So I think the tow truck, like, you can get it online if someone spawns it, but you can't actually store it. So this vehicle obviously has the ability to tow other cars, which is kind of cool. And the next vehicle I wanted to include was the Space Stalker, which has a very unique horn. It sounds like an alien UFO ship which is kind of cool. There's a lot of other whitelisted vehicles we can't get, like the clown van, the smoke on the water van. So I didn't want to include them in this list, which is kind of why they're going to be honorable mention stay, because there's no way for you to get them anyways. But anyways, that right there is 30 plus vehicles that you might not have known about that have unique and special abilities in Grand Theft Auto Online. As always, I'd love for you guys to add your own vehicles to this list that I might not have mentioned in the comments section down below. So let me know your thoughts, opinions, more down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We like daily GTA 5 videos like this. By the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.